Hi everyone, so this video was meant to only talk about the Kagawa situation and was meant to be out a lot sooner, but due to college, going to Italy, and just having a lack of motivation, I was putting off this video, and while I was going to come back to this and finish off the Kagawa part, a lot more interesting things have come from RGG Studios, and most of it is bad stuff. And the fact that the series just recently turned 20 years old and there is a lot of mishaps right now is just tragic, and we need to talk about it. So without wasting any more time, let's get to it. Is Yakuza having a second downfall? By a second downfall, we need to go back to the beginning of the series. Yakuza, or Like a Dragon, first was released on December 8th, 2005, and was then released September 2006 everywhere else. The game was received well in Japan, but not everywhere else, and it would be this way especially with the release of Yakuza Dead Souls, in which the game almost ended up killing the franchise in the West, and we would get no Yakuza games for 3 years until Yakuza 5 finally came to the PS3 in the West digitally on December 8th, 2015. And while it did well, unlike the past few games at the time, it still wasn't popular enough. And then in 2017, Yakuza 0 released and basically blew the series up in popularity. And then things got better and better with the Yakuza series, with releases like Judgment, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Lost Judgment, Ishin, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, and Infinite Wealth. Now we are in 2025, and the Yakuza series' reputation has started to go down a lot. Let's start. In September of 2024, about 8 months after the release of Infinite Wealth, or Yakuza 8, another Gaiden game was announced called Ryuga Gotoku 8 Gaiden Pirates in Hawaii, or as we call in the West, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. The game, just like Infinite Wealth, took place in Hawaii, and the game was the classic beat-em-up type game that the original Yakuza games were, and is a canon spin-off. The game was well received, although there were its haters. For me, I won't lie, I found the game boring, mainly with the pirate ship riding segments, though eventually I did get around to finally beating the game, and I do think it's a good game. But one of the main issues I have in the first Gaiden game had this issue too, and that's forcing side content into the main story. With the Akame Network stuff being forced down your throat in the first Gaiden, to the story being locked in Chapter 2 in Pirate Yakuza because you need to make money, which I find very annoying, but whatever, I guess. The story I feel like most will not like, although I didn't mind it too much besides Chapter 2. The gameplay is amazing and is probably my second favorite behind Lost Judgment. So you may say, oh, well, where's the bad stuff? Oh, don't worry, we'll get there, but first... On April 2nd of 2025, the head of RGG Studios, Masayoshi Yokoyama, would announce that Yakuza 0 would be coming to Switch 2, but it wasn't just a port of Yakuza 0 coming to Switch 2, it was Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, and was releasing the same day as the Switch 2 and was an exclusive for the Switch 2 for a little bit. Now Switch users could finally play Yakuza 0, and you think a way better version, right? Because it's a Director's Cut. Well, there isn't much difference between this and the original Yakuza 0. The main difference is that there are now 5 extra cutscenes in the story, plus a new online mode called Red Light Raid where you choose a character, whether it be Kiryu and Majima or some other characters, and you plus 3 others, though a lot of the times computers, beat up a shit ton of enemies, and there are different stages and difficulties. There are also 2 other dubs besides just the Japanese, now including English and Chinese, plus more text languages. But the one big difference between the OG and Director's Cut is something very amazing. Say it for me, Snowiest.
In Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, you can save anywhere!
But other than that, it's just Yakuza 0 again, but now Switch users can play it. You may think that's all I have to say regarding 0 Director's Cut. Oh, don't worry, we're getting there, but first... So, as we know, Yakuza Kiwami 3 plus Dark Ties will be releasing on February 12th, 2026. For those who didn't know, at the RGG Summit back in, I'm pretty sure, October, RGG Studios revealed Yakuza Kiwami 3 plus a new guiding game called Dark Ties, starring the main antagonist of Yakuza 3, Yoshitaka Mine. Kiwami 3 went through some recasting, those mainly being Shigeru Nakahara, now being voiced by Ryo Ishibashi, Rikiya Shimabukuro, now being voiced by Sho Kasamatsu, and Go Hamazaki, the main guy we will be talking about in this section, now being voiced by Teruyuki Kagawa. I mean, at least as of now that I'm making this video. So, I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter in the last few months or just on any social media as of late. And if you haven't, I'll tell you what's going on. So, as stated before, Hamazaki got a recasting. He was first played by George Takahashi, but is now being played by Kagawa. Again, at least for now, while I'm recording this. Now, if you go on social media and look up things like Kiwami 3 or Kagawa, you will see a lot of people wanting him to be removed, using the hashtag #RemoveKagawa. To those who aren't on social media might be wondering why. Well, in 2019, Kagawa was seen raping 2 hostesses, and only in 2022 he gave a half-assed apology to only one of the hostesses, and said the other hostess was fabricating things and was basically talking out of her ass. People, including me, were not happy about the recasting already, but with Hamazaki, it's even more heated now that we know about this. It's wild because when Pierre Taki, who was the original voice of Hamura in the first Judgment game, he was arrested upon possession of drugs, specifically cocaine, and when the RGG found out about this, RGG removed him from the game and switched his face and his voice. In Japan, if you are caught with drugs like cocaine, meth, etc., your career is basically done for. It's goodbye to your career. While sexual assault in Japan is basically not seen as much as a big deal as it is in Western countries. And it's sad that it's like this, but there isn't really anything we can do about it, sadly. Another ironic thing, which was also brought up by Snowiest in his 20-year anniversary Yakuza video, and it's about Maya Imamori. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Who it was a Japanese Filipino voice actor who ended up drinking alcohol underage at the age of 19, just 3 months before she turned 20, as Japan's drinking age is 20. Fun fact, I'm older than her by 1 month and 11 days. But because of her underage drinking, this caused her to be removed from the role as the Black Ranger in Super Sentai, and her agency dropped her because of it too. Now look, I'm not encouraging nor promoting underage drinking, but I find it very stupid that taking a drink of alcohol underage is considered more of a crime and basically kills your career compared to a literal man essaying 2 women and only gets a slap on the wrist. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you get rid of Pierre Taki's voice and face from Judgment for sniffing cocaine and not allow him into the project anymore, and then giving a literal SAer a platform and be involved in Kiwami 3? Like, that's just stupid as fuck. See, all I have to say is just #RemoveKagawa. Like, what the fuck? At the same RGG Summit that announced Kiwami 3, it was announced that Zero Director's Cut was coming to all platforms, plus upgraded versions of Kiwami and Kiwami 2 were coming to next-gen platforms, but with a cost. It would be announced that the original Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 would be removed off digital storefronts, and in their place there would be these upgraded versions of the 3 games. If you have the original Yakuza 0, you can upgrade to the Director's Cut at a discount, so instead of paying $50, you only have to pay $15. If you have the original Kiwami, then you can upgrade to the new one for only $2, and if you have the original Kiwami 2, then the upgrade was free. But again, with these upgrades releasing, they were delisting the older versions, so meaning if you still didn't have a PS5 or a Series X, or if you don't have a powerful enough PC to run these quote-unquote upgraded versions, and you want to play any of these older versions of these games, well, sucks to suck, because on the 8th of December, they were delisted from all storefronts. Now, sort of good news for PC players, that's that you can still buy these older versions via websites like CDKeys/Loaded or G2A, but if you are still on last gen consoles, well, sucks to suck, because you can't play it anymore unless you have like a physical copy. That's if you have a PS4, but if you only have an Xbox One, well, yeah. Hope you bought it when you had it. The difference between these versions and their OGs, Kiwami 2, more text languages and a performance upgrade, which is cool. The first Kiwami, more text languages, cut songs from the Japanese versions are now in this version, with those songs being Bleed by Koshi Inaba and Receive You Reborn. And I already talked about Director's Cut, so we'll be skipping that. One of the biggest downsides is that the save data from the old versions of these games do not carry over, meaning if you upgrade to these versions, you cannot use your old save file. Although, someone did make a program on PC where you can convert your Yakuza 0 save to Director's Cut, which is cool. But if you are on console, well, sucks to suck. And also, achievements don't transfer either, so time to 100% them all over again. And to also add, these games are a lot bigger in size because, of course they are. One more thing I want to shortly go over is Gang of Dragon, which is Toshihiro Nagoshi's debut game under Nagoshi Studios that was announced at the Game Awards this year. And as you can see, it has many elements that are inspired by Yakuza, considering that it involves the Japanese mafia and takes place in Kabukicho, the real-life version of Yakuza's Kamurocho. I'll likely be going more over it in a separate video, but we'll see. Just wanted to bring it up as it looks very interesting, and imagine we just start to get a competition based on making games about the Japanese mafia, which would be very interesting. And another reason is because Toshihiro Nagoshi was the creator of the Yakuza series until he was the creator and the head director until 2021, I'm pretty sure, when he left RGG Studios and Sega as a whole. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a good one. Hi everyone, I forgot to also just answer the question and say what I have to say, and that's if Yakuza is having a second downfall. I have to say no, because Yakuza is a very big series now compared to what it was almost a decade ago. And it's really popular, so I don't think it's gonna suffer a second downfall, but yeah, I hope they get things, figured out. But yeah, but for the most part, yeah, no, I don't think they're gonna have another downfall. But anyways, that's it. Love you all, for real. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you guys had a great new year. Love you all.